Hi there. I'm out here on Estate Mount Washington, and it is great to be here. I'm Doug, and I'm running for Pres for 2028. I'm been watching the news, and President Trump has been doing a lot of things. He's been doing them really fast. Um, some things I have to say, I'm not. I'm not pleased. Um, you, the United States is a country that is built on doing the right thing. And granted, we've done a lot of not doing the right thing. But one of the things that we did do, and Russia at the time also did, is they signed an agreement um, to ensure that Ukraine was um, a separate country from Russia, and that it gave up its nuclear weapons. And the United States and Russia worked on ensuring that those um, warheads were removed from Ukraine. And in doing so, Ukraine was supposed to be protected from Russia coming in and trying to take them over. And the United States was supposed to come in and ensure that if something did happen like that, that we had their back. Well, it doesn't look like we have their back. Granted, I agree that some people in the Ukrainian government have not been the most upstanding people in the world. And they have done things that, to be honest, have been less than ethical. But we've also had people in our country who have been working with people in Ukraine that have been less than ethical and have not done what should have been done to benefit Ukraine and or the United States. And I hate to make this partisan, but it's both sides of our political spectrum. We had President of the United States who was helping Ukraine, but I'm not sure he even knew what the hell he was doing. And then you have Trump coming in, and he's basically throwing Ukraine under the bus. Volodymyr Zelensky, he's a little bit like Ronald Reagan, an actor that became the president of a country. Does that mean that he's wrong or he's doing something bad by trying to be in a position to help his country survive against a regime that wants to crush their country and take them over? You have Putin, who sees Ukraine as completely illegitimate and that should be part of Russia. He believes Poland should be part of Russia, Estonia, Latvia, and other countries he believes should be part of Russia. And it's not true. They should be able to be their own. Russia's come in and taken over some of the countries that claimed independence and no longer have independence because Russia was much bigger than they were and nobody was there to help them out. Ukraine is a little bit larger. It has a little bit more capability to protect itself, but not a lot. It needs a lot more help. we in the United States have a lot to offer Ukraine. And most of it won't cost us as the taxpayers a lot of money. In fact, some of it will actually potentially save us money because we're getting things off of our inventory lists that we're no longer using. We've been trying to get rid of A-10 Warthogs out of the Air Force for years. That is a very good airplane, a very strong airplane. It could provide a significant help to Ukraine if they had those planes. Granted, they wanted F-16s. They've gotten F-16s. But are they getting the support from the United States that they need from the United States? Well, under Donald Trump, I can't say that they are. Is the United States government way too big? I agree, absolutely. Are the people who are being pushed out of their jobs part of the way too big? A lot of them, they are. But it also hurts their families when they get pushed out of such jobs because our government was out there trying to get bigger and ensure that it had more people working for it. It's not right. Our government keeps on handing out money all over the place, and the people doing the handing aren't necessarily doing it with the blessing that the United States government originally saw that it should see fit to be handing out. So we've got a number of problems happening that need to be fixed. And we plain and simple just don't have it. And then to top that off, we have almost $36 trillion in debt. I don't know about you, but I don't have $1 million that I can hand over to the government to pay my portion of the debt. And even if I did, should I hand over that $1 million today and say, hey, my debt's paid, you shouldn't have to bill me again? That ain't happening. It just won't happen. They'll figure out other ways to screw the monetary situation over. And that leads me to my next thing. Why am I doing this if I'm so jaded that I don't think that I can make that kind of improvement? Well, I am a little jaded, but I also believe that the right people doing the right thing can have the right kind of impact. And I don't think that when you're trying to fix a tree that's too large, that you hack it off at the trunk and expect that it's going to grow. You need to trim it carefully and prune it wisely and slowly take things down. We need to treat it like it's a bonsai, where you make a little trim here and a little trim there and a little trim here and a little trim there. And excuse me. And before you know it, you've taken this big, ginormous tree and you've taken it back and made it look like a small bush where it should have been to begin with. Just finishing off, it's that bonsai. It does need to be trimmed, and we need to continue trimming, and we need to keep things under control. We can't have a massive federal government. We need a limited federal government. We also need to help our friends. And we need to ensure that when we're providing support, that we recognize who is the aggressors. To sit there and say that Ukraine was the aggressor and that Russia is just playing its little tiny role, that's a bunch of BS. And we can't have that as a country. We need to know and recognize. And then we need to take and have people who we trust. And those people we trust, we need to be sending over to Ukraine and providing a support role. And that support role needs to ensure that what we're doing in Ukraine is ensuring that our money is being well spent and that the people in the Ukrainian military are doing what they need to do to have the impact they need to have to kick the Russians out of their country, take over and knock out any bridge, any shipping lane, anything that will help Russia to have a financial ability to have a impact on the war that will negatively impact Ukraine. We can't just have that. It's important that Ukraine be able to have a positive impact in this conflict. Again, I want to thank the owners of Estate Mount Washington for letting me film out here today, and to let you know that I'm Doug. I'm running for president in 2028, and we cannot allow what's been going on in Washington, D.C. to stand completely unabridged with Trump deciding exactly what has to happen and how that is impacting everyone. We need to make a change. Trump is limited to the next 3.5 years, almost 4 years, really. But we have the power to tell our legislators what we need them to do. And Trump can say no. And that's okay. Trump can fire people in government, and that's okay too. And it's going to make things hard, and it's going to make things better, and it's going to make things worse. And Trump's going to claim that he's making everything wonderful. Some things he is, some things he's not. He's making enemies around the world. We need to recognize where he's making enemies, where he's determining what needs to be happening positive, and let's have a positive impact around the world. And let's be the leaders in the world that the world expects us to be. That's going to take leadership. And the leadership we have right now, while they're doing good things, they could be doing better. They need our input. They need our prayers. They need our advice. They need to hear from us. They need to know when they're doing wrong. They need to know when they're doing right. And at the end of the day, we need to do what we need to do so that our country is a leader. And that's part of why I'm running for president in 2028. Like, subscribe, and let's come together Leave me some comments. Let me know how you think about this, and let's have a conversation. Lives are coming soon, so thanks so much.